Hi guys, and welcome to this class where we'll learn Audacity in 15 minutes. In this class, we are going to install Audacity, learn the interface, record your voice, add music, and finally export your first audio. Audacity is a great free software to start recording audio for beginners and even for experienced users. As you can see, I'm using it as we speak. This is specifically a beginner's course on the technical aspects of recording a podcast. So without further delay, let's get straight into it. Now, first things first, we need to download and install Audacity, and the place to go is the official website audacityteam.org/download. I'll provide the link in the notes below. But if you go to this page, it gives you an option to download Audacity for Windows, for Mac OS, and for Linux. I have a Windows, so I'm going to click on this link here. Now, the current version is 2.42, and I am going to click on this installer here, which includes the user manual if you so wish to use. So I'll get forwarded onto this page and I have the Audacity Windows installer, and I'm going to click and download this. So it should download in the bottom left corner. Once that's done, I can go in and click it, and I'm going to run the setup wizard. I'm going to select English and go next, and I'm going to go next again. I'm going to choose. You can choose exactly where you want to install Audacity within your computer or laptop. I'm going to keep it at this location, so I'm going to go next. Audacity already exists. As you can imagine, I've already got that installed. So I'm going to go ahead and click yes. I'm going to create a desktop shortcut. That's perfectly fine. And I'm going to hit install. Once that's done, click next and let's launch Audacity. Here I've opened up the program, and the program is mainly organized into the buttons and tools at the very top, with the space here to add audio tracks. The buttons up here, the pause and the play button. We've got the stop button here. And we also have the skip to the very start and skip to the very end buttons here. And as you can imagine, this is the record button. So if I record, hello, I am speaking in Audacity. And if I press the pause button, you can see that this pauses us at the exact point in the timeline after recording. So we're at second 5 in the timeline. And if I unpause, this allows me to record again. I am recording again in Audacity. Pressing stop takes us out of the audio track in its entirety. A super useful button is skipping to the very end. So if I skip to the end, I can start recording again. So if I press this, I am recording again. I can stop that, and I can also go to the very start using this button. The tools are found in this little section here. Currently, we are selecting the selection tool, which looks like the capital I. We have the envelope tool, the drawing tool, the multi-tool, the time shift tool, and the zoom tool. But for the purpose of this course, I'm mainly going to be focusing on the selection tool and later on the time shift tool. Now, the selection tool, once we select it, we can go into the track and we can select certain parts of what we've recorded. So I'm going to select this section here and say I can press play as an example. Hello, I am speaking in Audacity. And that will only play that section. Other things to know, up here we have the microphone input volume. So currently it's set at 100% because I want to pick up my voice as loud as possible. And the playback volume, this is currently set for me at 0.42, but you can have that all the way up. But I don't know why you would need that super loud playing back to you. Here we have where our microphone is. Now I'm using the Samsung Q2U, which is an excellent microphone. But if you press this drop down, it should give you the options of the microphones that you've inputted to your computer or laptop. Currently, I am selecting a mono. It has the option of recording in mono or stereo. Mono is just one audio channel, whilst stereo has two audio channels. So you can say hook up your guitar or any electrical instrument to stereo and it will create an additional track. So if that, I do that as an example, select stereo and I start recording again. Hello, this is the stereo recording channel. As you can see, it's created two tracks for me, but only used one in the end as I only have the microphone selected. Now that's all done, we can save our project. So I'm going to go ahead and save this project. And this is not exporting the audio file just yet. This is just saving our progress within Audacity. So I'm going to go save and go save project as. It gives you the warning, save project is for an Audacity project, not the actual audio file. And that tells you to go and use the export button, which we'll get into soon. So I'm going to go here, save it as Audacity project. So go ahead and save that on your end too. So now that we've got the basics down, I want to go ahead and record our very first audio. I'm going to delete these two tracks right here, and hopefully you've got everything set up by now. You've got your microphone inputted. You can choose mono or stereo. I'm going to choose mono, and I've got my speakers set up. And for the class project, all I want you to do is record your voice, save it, and export it. Most people, I find, just need that push to be more comfortable with their voice being out there, and that's what we're going to do. So all I want you to do is say hello and introduce your podcast. So I'm going to go right now. Hello, welcome to the Gary podcast. I'm your host, Gary, and my podcast is about flying pigs. Bit random, but you get the point. I don't actually have a podcast about flying pigs. Maybe if it has enough interest, I will do it. So we're going to go ahead and save that project now. And you can do that with the shortcut Control S. Now, if you're like me and you mess up multiple times, you may need to go in and cut or delete certain parts of the recorded audio. For example, I'm going to record again. Hello. My name is Gary. So right now I've got that, and I want it to be as concise as possible. Hello, my name is Gary. So I don't want the ums and the long pauses in there. So what I can do is I can select the selection tool, and I know this part of it is the So I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to press delete, right? I'm going to press into this timeline, which will play at that point in the timeline. My name is Gary. See how that has cut the out of it. And I've also got a long pause here. So I want to go in and delete that too. Once we've done that, you can go play. Hello, my name is Gary. Perfect. That is exactly what we want. And if you make any mistakes, you can always do Control Z, the magic wand of Control Z to undo everything. And I go undo that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to keep that all deleted. In this section, we are going to learn how to import audio into Audacity, which is a super useful feature, and this can be applied to your podcast by, for example, adding in some intro music, which we are going to do. Now, the very first thing is to go ahead and click File. I'm going ahead and click Import, then Audio. I've already got my audio file selected, which is this, so I'm going to go ahead, click that, and then click Open. Now it looks all a bit crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and mute our very own audio track here, and I'm going to play this audio track just to see what part of the audio track I want included in our audio. So I'm going to go ahead and press. Another bonus tip for your audio needs: if you want free non-copyright music to add to your podcasts, or if you post in YouTube or anywhere that's a free platform, I'm not sponsored in any way, I just like free stuff, is upbeat.io, and I'll leave this link in the show notes. They give you 10 free downloads per month, so it's super useful to use when you're just starting out. Awesome. I think I'm only going to use the very first 15 seconds of this audio track, so I'm going to go ahead, use the selection tool, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that. As you probably heard as well, that the audio track is quite loud, so I'm going to go ahead and use this gain slider. So you can use this gain slider to increase or decrease the volume of the track. So I'm going to go ahead and reduce that to roughly 9 decibels. Right, we're almost there. I'm going to go ahead and unmute our audio track. The problem we have here is that it is in the middle of our intro music. So one useful tool to use, I'm going to go ahead, click the selection tool. I'm going to select the entirety of our audio, and then I'm going to click the time shift tool. So I'm going to go ahead, use that, and shift this audio across so it's right at the end of the intro music. And I'm going to go ahead and play that now. Hello, welcome to the Gary Podcast. I'm your host, Gary, and my podcast is about flying pigs. Almost there. We are almost there. You see that it's still too loud at the point that I start talking. Now, a super useful feature that makes it sound way more professional is I'm going to use the selection tool, and I'm going to highlight this bit here, roughly 2 and a bit seconds here. And I'm going to go to Effect, and I'm going to Fade Out. What this does is that it reduces the volume slowly as it gets to the end of the audio track. So I'm going to go ahead and play this now and see what this sounds like. Hello, welcome to the Gary Podcast. I'm your host, Gary, and my podcast is about flying pigs. So I'm super happy with that. I just need to export the audio now. So I'm going to go up to File. I'm going to go hit Export, and it gives you a number of options to use. So we've got the MP3 file format, WAV, OGG, and it also allows you to export the selected audio. So say if I wanted to select this portion of the timeline, I'm going to hit File, Export, and Export Selected Audio, and that will only create the audio file between seconds 6 and say 16 in the timeline. But I don't need that. I want to export the whole thing, so I'm going to export as WAV. I found that the WAV format has the least amount of issues when editing, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to call that podcast audio, and I'm going to hit save. And it tells me your tracks will be mixed down and exported as one stereo file. That is absolutely fine because I'm adding mono and a stereo together. So I'm going to press OK, and there we go. Anyway, that is all for today's Audacity course. I really hope that has helped learn the basics of Audacity and really kickstart you to creating your podcast in Audacity for the very first time. And I really want to know what podcast you are creating. So create the project and let me hear what podcast you are creating. That's all. Hope to hear you soon.